We create our first design file by clicking this button. Figma has created a design file for us. On the top bar we have full Figma menu, then we have movement tool. It is the main tool that we are going to use to move objects around. Then we have a frame tool. We are often going to use this tool. It is used as the main canvas and also as the container for all the objects. So whenever you have objects that you have to group or put in the container, you use frame tool. Then we have shapes tool. Here we have rectangles and all other shapes. Vector graphic tool. It is used when we want to draw some vector graphics. Text. The hand to move around the canvas, although if you have a touchpad you would probably don't need this. And comments. If you are working in a team, you can create a comment and other team members can read it and also leave a reply. So now I have created a comment and someone else can reply me. To delete a comment, I can mark it as resolved. Then we have an information about where our file is located and its name. So now it's located in the drafts because I have created file from the recent tab. But if I have created file in the project, for example, it will be there automatically. And then the name of the file, let's rename it. Then Figma shows who is in this file. Now it's only me. Then I can share the file and also preview the prototype. Then we can set view options. We can set a zoom here and also some snap options, show or hide rulers or layout grids, for example. On the left we have our layers panel. I can also see the pages on this file. Now I have only one page, but I can add another one. Page 2, for example, and I can draw the rectangle here. But if I return to page 1, it will not be there. Then we have the Assets panel. We are going to use it when we are working with components. And on the right we have Design panel, Prototype and Inspect. But now it seems like everything is empty. I don't even have the appropriate place to start creating my designs. And all the panels are empty as well. To start working, we have to create our first frame. I can press F for frame, or I can just choose frame tool on the top bar. On the design panel, Figma suggests us the options, what size of the frame we want to create. These options are only the template. It doesn't affect anything, it just chooses the size of the frame that we are going to create. So I create my first frame and I can rename it. On the left panel, we now have our first object. Keep an eye on the left panel. Sometimes when you cannot figure out what is happening and why you cannot achieve the result that you want in Figma, you can understand why is it so in the layer panel. On the right panel, we now have much more options for the design. Here we can set the position of the objects, the size of it, the rotation and even the corner radius. For example, it's 20. By the way, to choose 20, I just pressed Shift and arrow up twice. I can also do the calculations in the numbers inputs in Figma. For example, -10 will be 10. Then we have outer layout and layout grid. We are going to talk about it in detail later. The opacity of the layer and then some visual properties. Let's create an object in our first frame and see how it works. I will create a rectangle and I will set a fill for it. I can do it here. For example, I want dark gray. I can press 3 and Figma will continue automatically for me the hex code. I can also press 3A, for example, and it will also automatically continue it. I can also choose the color manually. For example, let it be blue. Let's set also corner radius. We also can add one more fill if we need it. So now on top of the blue, I have the black gradient. I'll delete it now. And here under 4 dots, I can choose the style from the design system. Now Figma have automatically uploaded the design system for me that it has created automatically. It might be confusing. To turn off this automatic design system, we should go to Assets and here we have the book icon. Here Figma already has automatically published for us our design system. You can either delete it from the file browser on Figma or you can just switch it off. Now no design system is recognized. If I want, I can put my style that I have created in the design system. To do this, I press again 4 dots and press plus. Let's name our color blue. Now it is in the design system. I cannot change it right away, but if I have created another object, for example a circle, then I can choose the same color that I have just saved. This here. Let's align our elements appropriately. To do this, I press align horizontal for circle and align horizontal for rectangle. Then we can set stroke also and the effects. For example, I can set drop shadow or layer or background blur. To change the look of the shadow, I should press this button, and here I can change the properties of the shadow. For example, increase the blur. I can also export any object from Figma. To do this, I press plus, and here I can choose the size of the export, so now it will be exported in 100%, but I can make it bigger or smaller. I can export it in PNG, JPEG, and if it is a vector graphics, I can also choose SVG. Now I don't want to export anything. Let's try to create our first very simple prototype. To do this, I will copy my screen. I press Alt and then just drag the screen. It will create a copy. I want my rectangle to turn when I press on the oval. To do this, I choose oval and then I go to the prototype tab. Here I can set the interactions for the object. If the interaction is going to another screen, I can just drag and choose the screen that I want to go to. It will automatically create the interaction. Here we have an event listener, so now the interaction will happen on top, but also we can set another event. And then I can choose the action, what will happen on top. I want to navigate to another frame. And now the name is the same, let's rename it. Let's choose the interaction again, and here we see navigate to second frame. I can set also the animation, now it's instant, but I can choose also the dissolve or smart animate. Let's choose smart animate and see what will happen. For now I'll close and I change my second frame. I will rotate the rectangle. And now I want my prototype to go to the first frame when I press on the oval again. I drag back and it has created the interaction for me automatically. On top, navigate to first frame and the animation is set to the last one that I've used, which is Smart Animate. To see the prototype, I press the preview button. By the way, if we are working on the mobile prototype, we can also download Figma application and see the prototype directly on our smartphones. I press on the circle. My rectangle rotates. I press again. It rotates back. I can change the speed of the transition, for example. Let's make it twice faster. 150 milliseconds for both. Now it rotates faster. It rotates because we have chosen Smart Animate. If we have chosen, for example, Dissolve, it will transition through opacity. So on the first click we have Smart Animate, and on the second click we have Dissolve. The third right panel will show us the properties of the selected objects in CSS. Now we have selected the frame and, for example, we can choose the circle. The properties will change. Let's check our layer panel once again. Now we have two frames and in the frames we have ellipse and rectangle. It might happen that you will pass something and it will not be in the frame. The object can be in the frame in the layer panel, but you will not see it because it's outside of the boundaries of the frame. So you can choose the object on the layer panel and then just align it. The opposite can also happen. For example, you have inserted the object and you wanted it to be in the frame, and visually it is in the frame, but in the layer panel you see it is not. So when I move, for example, my frame, the object that is not there will not move. It will also not be exported when I choose export. So be careful how do you nest the objects. That's it for this video. In the next video, we are going to discuss frames in the details.